You can close it manually with tissue, super glue, plastic mold, or just stitch it shut forever. Here are my methods of closing a dead man's mouth. Dead people almost never look like this. Most of the time, they have their mouths partially open, wide open, with the tongue sticking out and with stuff coming out of them. They look like they are screaming or making silly faces. My job is to make them look decent. Before closing the mouth, I need to take a look inside and make sure that nothing will come out of it. I grab the head by the orbits with one hand and push the mandible down with the base of my palm. I have this mouth opener also, but I haven't used it yet. When the mouth is open, I can take a piece of medical tissue paper and stuff it deep into the throat to block the esophagus. I do it with my fingers, or if someone has sharp broken teeth, with bent forceps. When there's a lot of fluid, I let some of it soak into the tissue for a minute and then replace it with a new one. Next, I wipe the inside of the mouth thoroughly, which helps me hold the lips in one position. The saliva acts as a lubricant and makes them slide all over the place easily when the gums are wet. In rare cases, it is enough to just close the mouth manually and it stays shut. The method most often used by me involves making a set of false teeth from a paper tissue and stuffing them far up between the upper lip and the upper gums. The semi-dry inside of the lip sticks to the paper nicely, and then it's just a matter of tugging the lower lip upwards and pressing it to the remaining piece of paper. If that's not enough, I resort to super glue. The paper stays inside as a foundation, and I carefully apply the glue to the inside of the upper and lower lip. That way, I can be sure that the lips will look natural when I finish forming them and won't look like Neo in that famous scene in The Matrix. The downside of this method is that the mandible can pull down on the lips and the person looks like they are very serious. I got this plastic mold for a test, and it is supposed to act the same way as my tissue. It has rows of little teeth that should catch the inside of the lips and prevent them from opening again. I can already tell that it is not going to work properly and will give an artificial look to the mouth, like a boxer with the mouth guard on. And as you can see, I was right. The most reliable and my favorite method is stitching the mouth shut. To do this, I use a thick thread and a big curved needle. I thread the needle like this, which is enough to not lose the thread somewhere in between the muscles. I start with puncturing the area between the base of the tongue and the lower gums. I guide the needle and try to feel it with my fingers so it exits right in the middle behind the jaw. Next step is crucial for the proper final effect. I drive the needle into the exact same hole that it came out of, while changing the angle to make sure that it will exit right between the lower lip and the gums. The remaining hole is almost invisible, and you really need to know where it is to see it. I demonstrate it here on a piece of chicken in the vise, but it doesn't do it justice. At this stage I have a loop around the mandible and I push the needle upward between the upper lip and the gums so it exits through the nose. Now I push it through the septum, right under the cartilage, where the tissue is very thin. The final move involves pushing the needle right back down so it exits right under the upper lip where it came from, but on the other side. This gives me two loops, one around the mandible and the second one around the base of the nose. I shut the mouth, securing the mandible with my pinky finger so it won't open when I'll do the knot. The knot is the simplest one, and the only thing I need to look for is to make it flat. Now I can hide the loose ends inside the mouth and form the lips as I please. This method is the only one that gives me 100% guarantee that nothing will happen with the mouth when the body will be transported.